The trial in another one of Trump's criminal cases is now on hold indefinitely. Another huge headline in terms of Trump legal news. U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, canceled the May 20th start date for that trial in Florida on charges that Trump illegally retained classified government documents after leaving the White House in 2021. Cannon did not reschedule that trial. So, of course, now, again, it makes it highly unlikely that this case will proceed before November.
Yep. Scripps News correspondent Aaron Rodgers is here with more on why the judge made this decision. Hey, Aaron, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Alex and Rob. So basically, the judge says there were just too many pretrial issues that haven't been resolved yet for her to be able to set that new date, hence the indefinitely. Well, Judge Cannon made that ruling yesterday, and in it she says, quote, the court also determines that finalization of a trial date at this juncture before resolution of the myriad and interconnected pretrial and SEPA issues remaining and forthcoming.
Welcome, guys. Dr. John is here. So this happening right now, Judge Aileen Cannon's order unsealing court filings has made public over 833,000 pages of discovery, including photographs, audio, transcripts, and notes about Trump's obstruction that he fought desperately to keep hidden. The images show classified material stored in bathrooms, ballrooms, and bedrooms at Mar-a-Lago, now broadcast worldwide as evidence of his crimes. The Bedminster audio transcript is also now public. The transcript of Trump's own words from July 2021. The transcript showing Trump waving a classified Iran attack plan around at Trump's golf club. The transcript showing Trump admitting that the document is secret.
Would be imprudent and inconsistent with the court's duty to fully and fairly consider the various pending pretrial motions before the court. Now, what's really slowing up this case specifically is that Classified Information Procedures Act. Cases involving classified documents have to follow the rules and legal proceedings under the act, and there frankly are a lot of them. Well, Trump is charged, if you remember, in Florida, you know, that big legal headline with dozens of counts for being accused of mishandling classified information after he left the White House, and then plotting with two aides to obstruct efforts to recover the reportedly hundreds of documents from his private home at Mar-a-Lago. The Washington Post says that some of those documents did deal with nuclear secrets and U.S. intelligence efforts in China. Now, this ruling is a blow to special counsel Jack Smith and his team, who've been arguing that Trump's team has had plenty of time to prepare for a summer trial. Trump's team, though, saying they have been tied up dealing with that ongoing trial in New York, dealing with the alleged hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels that you just talked about. So the next deadline that both legal teams have to file written arguments is July 22nd.
The transcript showing Trump saying, as president, I could have declassified it, but now I can't. Trump's own words are now permanently part of the public record. Trump's own voice is now available for everyone to hear. Trump's own confession is now public, and there's nothing Trump can do about it. The evidence is out there. The proof is public. Trump is completely exposed. The court filings also detail all 40 felony counts, 40 counts, 31 Espionage Act violations. The filings explain exactly what documents Trump retained. The filings explain exactly how Trump retained them. The filings explain exactly how long Trump retained them. The filings explain exactly what Trump did to cover it up. The filings are a comprehensive roadmap to Trump's guilt, and the filings are now public. Anyone can read them. Anyone can understand them. Anyone can see exactly how much evidence prosecutors have. Anyone can understand that Trump is probably guilty.
Judge Cannon is a Trump nominee and has tended to move slowly on important decisions when it comes to court cases. Although in the rulings that she has made in this case specifically, she has generally sided with the government. With her decision, it is looking more likely that the current New York trial that Trump is facing might be his only criminal trial to happen before the November election. And that's important because if Trump is elected president, he could appoint an attorney general who's willing to drop the federal charges against him. Also, the Justice Department has a policy that doesn't allow criminal prosecution of a sitting president. Alex, back to you.
All right, Aaron, thank you. With us now is Paul Pelletier, former Department of Justice federal prosecutor and adjunct law professor at George Washington University. Always good to see you, Paul. Good morning. So in layman's terms, because a lot of people don't necessarily understand legal terms, all of the disputes and motions. What exactly is Judge Cannon saying that she needs in order to be resolved before she consider a trial date?
Evan Corcoran's notes are also now public. Corcoran's detailed notes about Trump's instructions to hide documents. Corcoran's notes about Trump's lies. Corcoran's notes about what Trump told Corcoran to do after the subpoena was served. Corcoran's notes showing that Trump was deliberately obstructing. Corcoran's notes showing that Trump knew exactly what Trump was doing. Those notes are now public. Those notes are now available to the media. Those notes are now available to the jury. Those notes are going to be used at trial to prove Trump's guilt. And Corcoran's notes are devastating because they come from Trump's own lawyer. They come from someone who was actually there. They come from someone who heard what Trump said directly. The crime fraud exception details are also public now. The details showing how the courts found that Trump was using his lawyer for obstruction.
In layman's terms, she needs some more brains and more guts. I mean, actually what's going on down there is completely different than my experience. I practiced in that district for almost 20 years, appeared in trials for almost every one of those judges down there, not Judge Cannon. And it is, what's going on in that courtroom is a complete circus. It's one of the busiest districts in the country, and most of the judges, if not all the judges, excluding her, know how to run their docket. There's nothing unusual going on in her case, except maybe there's a sort of a SEPA issue or a classified evidence issue. But other than that, all these motions are standard motions that judges handle every day. She's pretending that these are some complex or convoluted motions that it's going to take forever to decide, and that's just not the case. This is just crazy.
And let's be honest, Paul, from the very beginning, ever since the roulette wheel landed on Judge Cannon in this case, people were concerned on two fronts. The number one, she got appointed by Trump in the final days of his presidency, did not have a lot of experience in general. And two, because she was a Trump appointee, her partiality in the case was always in question. Does this latest action, indefinitely delaying the trial, you think substantiate those concerns in the most dramatic way yet? And if there's not a legal reason to postpone things, what is the reason?
The details showing how the courts determined that privilege didn't apply. The details showing that Trump was using Corcoran as part of an obstruction scheme. Those legal details are now public, and they explain exactly why Trump's privilege claims failed. They explain exactly why prosecutors got access to everything. They explain exactly why Trump's entire legal strategy collapsed. And those details are now available for anyone to read and understand. Trump went on Truth Social and started ranting about a total hoax. Trump is saying the evidence is fake. Trump is saying the courts are rigged. Trump is saying this is a witch hunt. Trump is denying everything. But it doesn't matter what Trump says anymore because the evidence is public. The evidence is already out there. The evidence is already being analyzed by the media. The evidence is already being discussed everywhere. Trump can deny it all Trump wants, but the facts are right there in the public record. The photographs are right there showing exactly where Trump stored classified documents. The audio is right there showing Trump confessing to retaining classified material. The transcripts are right there showing exactly what Trump told his lawyer to do. GOP allies are also scattering after seeing all this evidence. Republican leaders are looking at the photographs of classified material in bathrooms and thinking that's insane. Republican leaders are looking at the audio of Trump confessing and thinking Trump is guilty. Republican leaders are looking at all this evidence and realizing that Trump is probably going to be convicted. Republican leaders are looking at all this evidence and realizing that being associated with Trump is politically toxic. Republican leaders are looking at all this evidence and deciding to distance themselves even further from Trump. The evidence that went public is driving the final nails into Trump's political coffin. Trump's Truth Social rants about a total hoax are not convincing anyone. Trump's denials don't matter when the evidence is public. Trump's claims of innocence don't matter when Trump is on audio confessing. Trump's attacks on the courts don't matter when the courts have explained their reasoning in detail. Trump is completely exposed. Trump is completely defeated. Trump has nowhere to hide. The evidence is public. The truth is out. And Trump's presidency is basically over. The evidence is going to lead to conviction. The evidence is going to lead to prison time. The evidence is going to lead to Trump's removal from office. It's all out there now. Trump is finished. Let me break down exactly what the unsealed court filings contain and why each piece of evidence is so devastating to Trump's defense and what it means for Trump's trial prospects. Because this is not just evidence that prosecutors have access to. This is evidence that the entire public has access to. This is evidence that millions of people can review. This is evidence that the media can analyze exhaustively. This is evidence that will be discussed endlessly. And the more people see this evidence, the more people understand that Trump is guilty. The more people see this evidence, the more Trump's approval ratings decline. The more people see this evidence, the more impeachment becomes likely. Let's start with the photographs because they're the most visceral piece of evidence. Photographs showing classified material in bathrooms. Think about that. Classified nuclear secrets in a bathroom. Classified military intelligence in a bathroom. Think about the absolute carelessness of storing classified material in a bathroom where anyone could see it. Think about how blatantly Trump was violating federal law. Think about how obvious it is that Trump was not securing classified material properly. And now those photographs are public. Everyone can see them. Everyone can understand that Trump was dangerously negligent with the nation's most sensitive secrets. The photographs of ballroom storage are also extremely damaging. Ballrooms are social spaces. Ballrooms are where people gather. Ballrooms are places where Trump probably had guests visiting, and Trump was storing classified material in ballrooms. That's insane. That's reckless. That's a complete violation of security protocols. That's intentional mishandling of classified information. And photographs prove it. Photographs show exactly where the material was stored. Photographs show the scope of the violation. Photographs show that this wasn't accidental or a mistake. This was deliberate and systemic mishandling of classified material. The bedroom storage is also relevant because it shows that Trump was storing classified material in personal spaces. Bedrooms are the most personal spaces in a residence. Bedrooms are where people change clothes. Bedrooms are where people sleep. Bedrooms should never contain classified material. And Trump was storing classified nuclear secrets in bedrooms. And photographs prove it. The photographs make it impossible for Trump to claim he was securing the material. The photographs make it impossible for Trump to claim he wasn't aware of the storage. The photographs are undeniable proof of Trump's misconduct. Now let's talk about the Bedminster audio transcript because this is the smoking gun. This is Trump's own confession captured in audio and now transcribed for public consumption. July 2021, Trump at Bedminster. Trump with writers. Trump picks up a classified document. Trump waves it around. Trump shows it to people without clearances. And Trump says on tape that the document is still secret. Trump says that as president, Trump could have declassified it, but now Trump can't. Trump is literally explaining on tape that Trump knew the document was classified and Trump deliberately retained it anyway. And the transcript is now public. Everyone can read Trump's exact words. Everyone can understand Trump's guilt. The transcript also shows Trump's knowledge and understanding of declassification. Trump is explaining how declassification works. Trump is explaining that as president, Trump had the power to declassify. Trump is explaining that now that Trump is not president, Trump can't declassify. Trump is demonstrating clear knowledge of the legal situation. Trump is demonstrating that Trump understood exactly what Trump was doing. Trump is demonstrating consciousness of guilt. The transcript makes it impossible for Trump to claim ignorance. The transcript makes it impossible for Trump to claim Trump didn't understand the classification status of the documents. The transcript is Trump's own words proving Trump's guilt. The Espionage Act violation details in the court filings are also devastating. 31 Espionage Act violations. 31, that's a huge number. That's Trump retaining classified material in multiple locations. That's Trump retaining multiple types of classified material. That's Trump retaining nuclear secrets and military intelligence and foreign intelligence. Each piece of classified material retained is a separate violation. Each document that Trump kept is a separate count. And Trump is charged with 31 Espionage Act violations. That means prosecutors found 31 separate pieces of classified material that Trump deliberately retained. And the court filings detail exactly which documents and exactly how Trump retained them. The obstruction details are also public now. The details showing Trump's team moving boxes after being notified by the FBI. The details showing Trump's team taking deliberate action to hide evidence. The details showing that Trump directed that obstruction. The details showing that Trump was actively trying to prevent prosecutors from finding classified documents. The details showing that Trump was trying to conceal evidence. All of that is now public. All of those details are now available for anyone to read. All of that detail is now going to be used at trial to prove Trump's guilt on obstruction charges. Evan Corcoran's detailed notes are also public now, and they're absolutely damaging. Corcoran documented Trump's instructions to hide documents. Corcoran documented Trump's lies about what Trump had. Corcoran documented Trump's attempts to conceal evidence. Corcoran documented everything, and Corcoran's notes are going to be used at trial. Corcoran's notes are going to show the jury exactly what Trump told Corcoran to do. Corcoran's notes are going to prove that Trump was deliberately obstructing. Corcoran's notes are going to prove Trump's guilt. And Corcoran's notes come from Trump's own lawyer. They come from someone who was actually there. They come from someone who heard what Trump said directly. And those notes are now public. The crime fraud exception details in the court filings explain exactly why Trump's privilege claims failed. The filings explain that prosecutors proved Trump was using Corcoran for obstruction. The filings explain that Trump was directing Corcoran to hide evidence. The filings explain that Trump was lying to Corcoran. The filings explain that privilege doesn't protect communications made to commit crimes. The filings explain the legal reasoning. The filings explain why the courts rejected Trump's privilege claims. And all of that explanation is now public. Everyone can read the legal reasoning. Everyone can understand why the court sided with prosecutors. Everyone can understand that Trump's privilege claims were baseless. The significance of all this evidence being public cannot be overstated. Trump fought for months to keep this evidence secret. Trump filed motion after motion to suppress this evidence. Trump claimed privilege. Trump claimed executive authority. Trump did everything Trump could to keep this evidence hidden. But the courts forced disclosure, and now the evidence is public. Now the evidence is available to the media. Now the evidence is available to voters. Now the evidence is available to the jury. And the more people see this evidence, the more people understand that Trump is guilty. The public disclosure also means that Trump's defense is now transparent. Prosecutors have already disclosed their evidence. Prosecutors have already shown the photographs. Prosecutors have already shown the audio. Prosecutors have already shown the documents. So Trump can't claim that prosecutors are hiding evidence. Trump can't claim that the evidence is biased. Trump can't claim that the investigation is unfair. Trump's defense has to address the evidence that's already public. Trump's defense has to explain the photographs. Trump's defense has to explain the audio. Trump's defense has to explain the documents. And Trump probably can't explain any of it satisfactorily. Let me break down what the public release of all this evidence means for Trump's trial and what it means for Trump's political situation and what it means for Trump's future. Because this is the moment of maximum damage for Trump. This is the moment when Trump's crimes are exposed to the entire nation. This is the moment when Trump's defenses are dismantled in public. This is the moment when everyone understands that Trump is guilty. The jury pool has now seen all the evidence. The jury pool has seen the photographs. The jury pool has heard the audio. The jury pool has read the transcripts. The jury pool has reviewed all the documents. The jury pool has been saturated with evidence of Trump's guilt. And that's going to make it very difficult for Trump to get a jury that hasn't already made up their minds. Most jurors have probably already concluded that Trump is guilty based on the public evidence. Most jurors have probably already decided that Trump should be convicted. And Trump's defense is going to have to overcome that presumption of guilt that already exists in the jury pool. Trump's lawyers are probably going to argue that the jury pool is tainted. Trump's lawyers are probably going to argue that the public disclosure of evidence makes it impossible for Trump to get a fair trial. Trump's lawyers are probably going to file motions for a change of venue. Trump's lawyers are probably going to request that the trial be moved to a different location where the jury pool hasn't been exposed to the evidence. But the judge is probably not going to grant those motions because the evidence has been made public and jurors everywhere have been exposed to it. So Trump is probably going to be stuck with a jury pool that has already seen all the evidence and probably already concluded that Trump is guilty. The media coverage of the unsealed filings is also going to be extensive and detailed and negative for Trump. The media is going to analyze every photograph. The media is going to transcribe every word of the audio. The media is going to examine every document. The media is going to interview legal experts about what the evidence means. The media is going to conduct exhaustive analysis of Trump's guilt. And all of that media coverage is going to convince voters and potential jurors that Trump is guilty. And all of that media coverage is going to damage Trump's reputation further. And all of that media coverage is going to drive Trump's approval ratings down further. Trump's approval rating is already at historically low levels, but the public release of the evidence is probably going to drive Trump's approval rating even lower. Voters are going to see the photographs. Voters are going to hear the audio. Voters are going to read the transcripts. And voters are going to conclude that Trump is guilty. Independent voters especially are going to be convinced by this evidence. Independent voters care about rule of law. Independent voters care about national security. Independent voters are going to understand that Trump endangered national security. Independent voters are going to vote against Trump and Republican candidates. Republican donors are also probably going to abandon Trump after seeing this evidence. Donors are going to understand that Trump is probably going to be convicted. Donors are going to understand that Trump is probably going to be in prison. Donors are going to understand that Trump is a liability. Donors are probably going to stop donating to Trump. Donors are probably going to stop donating to Republicans associated with Trump. Donors are probably going to redirect their money to Republicans, distancing themselves from Trump. And that donor flight is going to hurt Republican fundraising. That donor flight is going to hurt Republican midterm prospects. Republican legislators are also probably going to accelerate their distancing from Trump. Republican legislators have already started to distance themselves, but the public evidence is probably going to convince more Republican legislators that they need to move further away from Trump. Republican legislators are probably going to start calling for investigations into Trump. Republican legislators are probably going to start suggesting that Trump should resign. Republican legislators are probably going to start talking about impeachment, and that Republican distance from Trump is going to accelerate Trump's political collapse. The impeachment odds are probably spiking right now. If the House flips in the next election, if Democrats get control of the House, then impeachment is virtually certain. Democrats are going to use all this public evidence as grounds for impeachment. Democrats are going to argue that Trump is unfit for office. Democrats are going to argue that Trump endangered national security. Democrats are going to use the photographs as evidence. Democrats are going to use the audio as evidence. Democrats are going to use all the court filings as evidence. And Democrats are probably going to impeach Trump. And with Trump's approval rating so low, with Trump's political position so weak, impeachment is probably going to succeed. The Senate probably has enough votes to convict and remove Trump. Now let's talk about what this means for Trump's trial prospects and why Trump's conviction is now virtually certain. The evidence is public. The evidence is undeniable. The evidence is overwhelming. Trump is going to go to trial facing a jury that has already seen all the evidence. Trump is going to go to trial facing a jury that has probably already concluded that Trump is guilty. Trump is going to face a jury that has heard Trump's own confession on audio. Trump is going to face a jury that has seen photographs of mishandled classified material. Trump is going to face a jury that has read transcripts of Trump's instructions to hide documents. Trump is not going to be able to convince that jury that Trump is innocent. The special counsel is going to present the evidence systematically. The special counsel is going to show the photographs. The special counsel is going to play the audio. The special counsel is going to present the documents. The special counsel is going to call witnesses who will testify about what they saw. The special counsel is going to call Corcoran to testify about what Trump told Corcoran. The special counsel is going to present a comprehensive case that proves every element of the charges. And the jury is going to convict Trump. The jury is going to find Trump guilty on the Espionage Act counts. The jury is going to find Trump guilty on the obstruction counts. The jury is going to find Trump guilty on the conspiracy counts. Trump is going to be convicted on multiple charges. Trump's sentence is going to be significant. The judge is going to consider the seriousness of the charges. The judge is going to consider that Trump retained nuclear secrets. The judge is going to consider that Trump obstructed justice. The judge is going to consider that Trump endangered national security. The judge is going to impose a substantial prison sentence. Trump is probably looking at years of federal prison time. Trump is probably looking at a decade or more, depending on how many counts Trump is convicted on. Trump is probably going to spend a significant portion of Trump's remaining life in federal prison. The media is going to continue analyzing the evidence. The media is going to continue covering Trump's response. The media is going to continue reporting on Republican distancing. The media is going to continue discussing the implications. And all of that coverage is going to be negative for Trump. All of that coverage is going to drive Trump's approval ratings down. All of that coverage is going to accelerate impeachment talk. All of that coverage is going to drive Republican donors away. All of that coverage is going to accelerate the Republican fracturing. Trump's legal team is going to have to respond to the evidence. Trump's legal team is going to have to develop a defense strategy. Trump's legal team is probably going to tell Trump that Trump should consider a plea deal. Trump's legal team is probably going to explain that Trump's chances of winning at trial are virtually zero. Trump's legal team is probably going to recommend that Trump accept responsibility and try to get a reduced sentence. But Trump probably won't listen. Trump probably wants to go to trial and fight. Trump probably thinks Trump can somehow convince a jury that Trump is innocent despite all the evidence. And Trump is probably going to lose because Trump's position is indefensible. So here's where we are. The evidence is public. All of it. The photographs, the audio, the transcripts, the documents, everything Trump fought to hide is now public. Trump's lies are exposed. Trump's obstruction is documented. Trump's crimes are proven. Trump is completely defeated. Trump's approval rating is at historic lows. Trump is facing impeachment. Trump is facing conviction. Trump is facing prison. Trump is facing the end of Trump's presidency. And it all happened because the courts forced the evidence public. It all happened because Trump's legal defenses collapsed. It all happened because Trump couldn't hide Trump's crimes. It all happened because the rule of law matters and the courts enforced it. Trump is finished. Trump's presidency is essentially over. Trump's presidency is being consumed by legal crises and criminal trials. Trump's presidency is being defined by scandal and obstruction. Trump brought all of this on Trump through Trump's own conduct. Trump retained classified documents. Trump showed them to people without clearances. Trump lied about it. Trump tried to cover it up. Trump obstructed justice. And now Trump is completely exposed. Trump is completely defeated. Trump's crimes are public. Trump is going to prison. Trump's second term is a disaster. The photographs showing classified material in bathrooms are now part of the permanent public record. The audio of Trump confessing to retaining classified information is now part of the permanent public record. The transcripts of Trump's own words are now part of the permanent public record. The notes from Trump's own lawyer documenting obstruction are now part of the permanent public record. The court filings detailing all 40 felony counts are now part of the permanent public record. And there is nothing Trump can do to change any of it. The evidence is out there. The truth is out there, and the American people can see it all for themselves. Pretty wild stuff when you think about how Trump's attempt to hide evidence actually exposed Trump completely and destroyed Trump politically and legally. The man who thought he could control everything, who thought he could hide anything, who thought he was above the law, has now been exposed in the most comprehensive way possible. The photographs, the audio, the transcripts, the documents, all of it is public, and the public is going to draw its own conclusions. And those conclusions are going to be devastating for Trump.